Hi, I'm Sue Zeni. I'm the owner of the Zeni Tree Farm. It's a 78-acre tree farm located near Springfield, Oregon. I lived in a house just up the road, and in 1997 we heard chainsaws and we saw that the property next door was being logged. My husband at the time and I had been looking for a tree farm for multiple years, so we scrambled together and figured out how to purchase this 78 acres. When we purchased the tree farm, it was logged over. The roads most of them were dirt roads. They weren't permanent roads. They left us the obligation of replanting and putting in culverts and basically cleaning up the whole thing. So that gave us a clean canvas to work with. They did leave quite a few legacy trees, so we worked around those. We decided that we were going to not plant all the same crop, but we were going to plant multiple types of trees, kind of an experiment. We had a redwood tree at our house already, so we knew they grew pretty well. So we also added redwood trees to the local mix. The main objective to the tree farm for me is to leave a legacy to my children of a working tree farm. They grew up on it, and so they understand the hard work that goes into it. For recreation, for just seeing how nature changes over time. For multiple years, as the trees were growing up, my main objective was to keep the road open. As the trees are now 25 years old, have very low mortality, they needed to be thinned. I'm in the middle of a 3-year thinning plan where I'm going to thin most of the property except for probably the redwoods and the cedars, who are more shade tolerant. So trying to leave the biggest and the best, get stocking down to maybe about 220, 230 trees per acre. I also want to protect the soil for the future health of the tree, so trying to use small equipment in here instead of large equipment. Smaller equipment that can travel and leave some pathways but not greatly impact the soil or the remaining trees. So he uses a stroker for falling the trees, and it'll limit and bucket and fall it, and it has some control over where it falls it so that it doesn't scrape up the remaining trees. And then he'll forward all that with a small piece of equipment and a tractor that'll follow on the trails. Easier on the roads and easier on the soil. So I have a conservation easement on the lower part of the tree farm that I have 400 feet along the McKenzie River, which I consider a special site. The conservation easement is with Pure Water Partners, and their objective is clean water in the McKenzie. The McKenzie is drinking water for the city of Eugene, so very important to be protected. They'll help with some ivy invasive removal. In return, I won't be impacting that area. I think it's really important to not be just myself deciding all the things that are going to happen on this property. Growing trees is a really long-term business. You need a map to figure out how to do that. So the management plan needs to be flexible enough to change with the times, but it's hard to manage a long-term piece of property if you don't have a map for where you're going. Management for wildlife is important to me, and it's also been a puzzle how to do that and then reduce fire danger. My initial idea was to leave areas that were unmanaged, more thickets, but I don't want to leave those close to my neighbors because I think there's more fire danger in them. So closer to the neighbors, I am limbing up the trees and having less brush in there, and then picking areas that either are unmanaged or piled so that it's better for wildlife. Being a certified forest is important to me because it shows that I'm following the set of guidelines that are prescribed by the certification. And that is important to show that this is a sustainable tree farm, which is important not only to me, but it's also important to consumers. This whole place is recreation for me. Maybe that's work is recreation, I guess, in a way, but this is a place where I can get away from city life. I can chill, I can work hard, I can rest. It makes me happy to be here, and it makes me happy to see the trees changing over time.